Days after leaving the island of the Cyclops, Odysseus's fleet found a floating island that was not attached to land. There was only a splendid bronze palace on top of a hill. The king of Ithaca and his men disembarked on the island, setting off in the direction of the residence of the island's inhabitants. Odysseus met Aeolus, the guardian of the winds, who cordially welcomed the visitors. During the banquet in honor of their illustrious visitors, Aeolus and his sons listened cheerfully to Odysseus, who narrated to them the great deeds of the heroes during the Trojan War. To thank them for the entertainment, Aeolus opened a large wineskin and placed inside it all the winds, except for Zephyr, which would blow quietly to guide Odysseus and his men to their home. The favorable wind drove the heroes' ships close to home. After sighting the island of Ithaca, Odysseus could see the smoke from the chimneys. Relaxing for a moment, he entered the realm of Hypnos, the god of sleep, and started snoozing. Odysseus's men were unhappy to return home with virtually no spoils of war. They envied Odysseus for having received a big bag from the gods. They wanted to know what kind of treasures were in the bag. They imagined that there was a lot of gold, so they opened the wineskin. After they opened the bag, all the winds came out and seemed furious. Odysseus awoke, startled by the great noise made by the strong winds. The winds caused great waves and gathered storm clouds, pushing the ships far from home. Odysseus, feeling disillusion and frustration, thought of throwing himself into the sea and ending all that suffering, but eventually regained his sanity. They returned to the island of Aeolus seeking help, but they were driven away by the ruler. He would not disregard the will of the gods, who certainly did not wish Odysseus to return home. Odysseus and his men fought against the winds, which seemed to carry them further and further away from home. After a long time at sea, they found a new island. On it was a protected area, where almost all of Odysseus's ships could find shelter. Only the hero's ship was moored outside the bay, as there was no more room. Odysseus ordered 2 men to inspect the island and find out who its inhabitants were. They found a child, who was bigger than a normal adult, and asked him to take them to his ruler. They were taken to a large house, where a giant queen welcomed them. The queen called her husband, who was huge and had a menacing appearance. He grabbed one of Odysseus's men and devoured him immediately. His partner escaped and ran to the ships. Meanwhile, the king of the giants, known as Laestrygonians, called the others to hunt the little men. The giants attacked the men and their ships in the bay as they tried to escape. The giants grabbed the men and sank their ships, throwing huge stones. The men who were not devoured immediately ended up trapped to be eaten later. By failing to dock in the bay, only Odysseus's ship escaped the massacre. His fleet now consisted of only 1 ship. Everyone in it mourned the loss of the brave friends who had survived the Trojan War, but perished before terrible creatures.